Hi, I'm Sam Flying Kite, and welcome to the horror show. Today's week 3 of the deep dive, or the deeper dive, the deepest dive, the deeper inside. Anyways, we're doing bad things. We're doing bad things. We're doing bad things. Anyway, anyways, to kind of go over, quickly what I talked about, just to kind of get it through. If you did not watch my short version, or the short version, this movie came out in 2023. It's an hour and a half. It's directed by Stewart Thorndike, composed by Jason Faulkner. Gayle Rankin plays Ruthie, Harry Neff plays Cal, Annabelle Dexter-Jones plays Fran, and Rad Pereira plays Maddie. It's a my bad. I almost skipped something. It's produced by the Space Program and distributed by Shudder. It's a 3.8 out of 10 on IMDb, and in short, it's a very poor modernization of The Shining. Although I would probably add to that, it's a very poor modernization / feminizing of The Shining. You'll see what I mean in a second. This is an interesting movie. Mostly because there's a few things. I love how it's composed by Jason Faulkner. I don't know what Jason's done. And then this is no, slight to him and his work and whatnot. But watching bad things, it's kind of the same thing over and over again. And to be fair, there's a lot of movies that do that. And it's an okay piece of music, but I really hope I never hear that in anything else. Unless it's some weird sequel. Which I doubt would ever happen, because this is just an odd movie to make a sequel for. Although I suppose it's possible. Is this a movie I'm gonna watch again? Maybe. Maybe if it's random horror night, with the pals, and I'm oh, let's put bad things on. Well, I have plenty of bad things to say about this movie. No, I mean, it's a fine movie. I mean, I wouldn't go and give it a 4 or 5 out of 10. I could maybe give myself a 3 out of 5, maybe. Wait, my bad, not out of 10. I want to give this movie a 4 or a 5 out of 5, but I could give myself, I could give it a 3 out of 5. That would be the best case scenario for it, but this is more so because of the deep thinking in the movie. If you're watching this movie very surface level, then either you're gonna hate it or you're gonna love it, either way. But only because of oh, there's lesbians, or oh, they're killing each other, or oh, whatever. That's very surface level of the movie. But if you watch it deeper, then you actually might kind of like the movie, actually like it, and not love it because of, oh, lesbians. One thing that I did find really interesting, I didn't look at the whole cast. I really should have. But the actress that plays Ruthie, Gayle Rankin, she's kind of big. Not crazy big, she's in the MCU, I don't think, but she was in The Greatest Showman. And so, she's in The Greatest Showman. And she's also in that horror movie that came out a few years ago, Men. And there was something else, but it was why is she in this movie? This is a really indie movie. Which would, I wish there was, a commentary on this movie, but, there's nothing on this specific. I have no clue if there's, a release of this where there is a commentary. But honestly, it would always be interesting to look it up, but I kind of doubt it. Just, my first assumption of it, because it's a Shudder movie. It's kind of just, it's on the, there's movies that are just instantly spit out. And then there's movies that are kind of spit out, but some company picks it up and then, puts it on their thing. So it's if there was a commentary out there, I wouldn't be surprised, and I would love to listen to it. That would be one of the only reasons I would go back to this movie, is if there was a commentary where it's the director, and he's talking about it. Because I was I really want to know what he was thinking about some things in the movie. Because I could go and make assumptions based on my Christian point of view, but I don't want to go and just, be like, oh, this is what the movie's about, unless I'm like, this is my opinion on what the movie's about, and then say that. Plus, it just, enter the mind of the director. It's always interesting. So, I guess before I get in my Christian explanation, I am really curious to go in IMDb, which I have pulled up right now. The best review for it is 7 out of 10, which would be almost the equivalent of a 3 out of 5. So this would be like the best case scenario, and this is the one that I was saying in the end of the shorter review, the 9-minute, 10-minute one. The 7 out of 10 solid and creepy one, where it's like, it's a fine movie. Like, I mean, the last sentence should, in his or in their point of view, which it's Steve 2001, so it's like he should be he. If you want a fun, creepy film that will get under your skin a bit, check it out. And like, it definitely can. But there's a few technical things in the movie that, like, yeah, I don't think it's good, because there's definitely better ways to go about it. Like, when I make a horror movie, I don't want to have characters make stupid decisions unless it's well known that the character themselves is stupid. And it's like, when you're watching like an old like 80s slasher movie and someone makes a stupid decision, it's like, you could be like, oh, there was just a stupid teen, but then it's like, I don't know, I feel like a teen in that situation doesn't do that, right? And in this movie, there's some character decisions in the movie that are just like, really, like, there's one in the very end though, which is really like, I paused the movie and just started laughing, because it was so like, I kind of not forgot about it, but I was trying to remember, because I watched this movie a long time ago, about the time it came out, or the year after, which would have been like 24. And it's like, I didn't remember how something in the ending happened, and then getting to that point, it was just like, it was one of the worst things I think I ever saw. Not like the movie in itself, but like the scene. The scene was, that's just terrible, because what happens to the characters, the decision that the characters made, and then just like, it just felt so it kind of felt cringe, honestly. No offense, but be offended. But I want to look at the 1 out of 10s real quick. There's 5 of them, I think. There's 16 total user reviews, but there's 5 ones. I want to find one that's like, and I want to read it. Well, maybe this one then. It's a short one, but it's 1 out of 10, called Trainwreck. Bad Things might just be the worst film I've seen all year, 2023. I don't think the makers of this film have the basic knowledge of how to make any film, and certainly not a horror film. The central characters' friendship and intersecting romantic relationships, which are meant to be the film's grounding center, are described as having flimsy connections and dead air. The performances lacking chemistry and genuine feeling, leaving the film lacking emotional investment. The acting performances are abysmal. It looks like they were striving for something along the lines of The Shining, since it draws a lot of its inspiration from the Kubrick film, but they failed miserably. And this is from Horror Flick Fanatic, who this is actually a kind of big name. Wow, okay. I'm actually really curious to kind of just see real quick what he thinks of certain movies. I'm just kind of going through his thing real quick. I'll be quick, hopefully. I want to find a review that's like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense, or no sense at all. So he gave Bad Things a 1. Okay. I mean, some of it's making some sense. Just kind of getting through it. Oh my gosh. I want to see... I don't want to go through his thing all day. This is not supposed to be 5 minutes of me scrolling through this guy's thing. But, yeah, there's a lot of, there's a lot of oddness in this movie, storyline-wise. But in the same time, when it is all said and when it is all done, in short, from the Christian explanation, Ruthie is very mentally unstable, and this hotel is possessed, or is haunted, and is attacking her, making her more and more crazy. And this is spoiling, so if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Well, you can look it up on YouTube. And it itself is not free, but someone posted a free version, so oh yeah. It's Shining, so she goes crazy and then she starts hurting people. She starts doing bad things. And ultimately, at the very end, she kills everyone. Technically, she killed 2 of them, and the third person kind of accidentally killed herself. It was kind of like, oh, okay. Well, maybe not necessarily, but kind of. But at the very end, alright. There's a lot of things to unpack here. Ruthie and Cal are in a relationship. Maddie really likes Cal, I think. Fran really likes Ruthie. And Ruthie technically cheated on Cal with Fran a long time ago, I think. During the movie, Ruthie and Fran cheat, or Ruthie cheats on Cal with Fran. So this would have been the second time. And a lot of bad things happen. At the end of the movie, Fran dies because there's the 3 Ruthie, Cal, and Maddie take Fran to alright, Fran starts seeing ghosts, and so starts kind of oh my gosh! Ruthie, Cal, and Maddie take Fran to the train station, leave her there so she could take a train back. Ruthie, Cal, and Maddie go back to the hotel and party and whatnot. But then Ruthie's like, oh my gosh, Fran came back. Oh, we're so screwed. Ah! And everyone starts freaking out, kind of. And Cal and Maddie end up, I don't remember exactly how, but they end up realizing or finding out that Ruthie is kind of mental too. And so they wrap her up and then take her somewhere and then lock her in a room closet or a bathroom. I think it's a bathroom. And then Fran frees Ruthie, and they're walking through, and then Cal, kind of character, this is not a characteristic of the character, but the character still does it. That being, had something and hit Fran in the back of the head, and then Ruthie pushed Fran out of a window, which wasn't a high story. It was ground level. And then Fran's walking backwards and then falls into an empty swimming pool and hits her head on the bottom of the pool and dies there. And it's okay. But, the 3 of them don't know that. Ruthie and Cal, my bad. Ruthie and Cal are running away outside, walking outside, trying to get away. Cal is very scared to do stuff, and so that's when she hits Fran, it kind of didn't make any sense. But anyway, Maddie ends up kind of discovering something really, oh my gosh. See, there's this mom character that Ruthie has that oh, she's gonna be here, right, blah 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 blah. She actually either she killed her mom or her mom died already, and she's been texting herself as mom. And when Cal ends up finding out about that, and then Ruthie's like, did you really think blah 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 blah, oh, big reveal. That's when Maddie comes out with the chainsaw and is like, I'm not gonna let you hurt her. And then she tries to start it. Sucks. And then puts it on the ground, runs over to Cal. Ruthie just walks over to the chainsaw, one tug and it starts. And then you have a little chase that, starts on the street with Rudy chasing Cal and Maddie. And it ends in this, supermarket parking lot where Cal and Maddie slip on some snow and they're stuck on the ground and they can't get up. And then Ruthie kills them with the chainsaw. It's kind of off screen. The POV of it happening is kind of Cal and Maddie's point of view. It's, low on the ground like that, but it's not like them, right? I don't know. Anyway. So Ruthie, mental, maybe starting to be a little possessed, or maybe kind of like Blackcoat's daughter a little bit, which I'm not going to actually spoil that movie, because I'm thinking about maybe doing that sometime. That's a really good movie. But the ending of this movie kind of reminds me of the ending in that movie, in the sense of you have this character who starts kind of doing bad things, and they're so broken that the darkness that they stumbled across becomes home. And they don't want to leave it. They like it. But it's just using them. So at the end of the movie, after Ruthie kills them, Ruthie goes back to the hotel and then sees the ghost version of her mom messing around with this guy character that was kind of in the movie a little bit, but he ends up dying in the movie. And it's their two ghosts, and then the mom sees Ruthie at the door, and then goes to the door, is like, not now, honey, mom's busy, and closes the door. So it's like, Ruthie is just in a really bad place, and she's kind of effed. As a person, as a soul, as all of the above. And I think the Christian explanation is there's no Christ in our life. There's no Jesus in our life. There's no God in our life. Well, there is God, the lowercase g in her life, but it's the wrong thing. It's more material things. It's more unnatural things, like being in a relationship with women. And then your company is that kind of, company. You have bad company. And doing evil allows for more evil to, slowly creep into your life, whether it's like the small thing or that small thing. Like, I mean, you have plenty of, serial killers out there in the 80s. Like, I want to say Ted Bundy was one where he found, Playboy magazines. And that just kind of, that want and desire in his heart grew and grew and grew, and he needed more, and he needed more, and he needed more, until he finally got to a point where he was killing people. Well, I guess more specifically killing women, and then, whatever, but it's just, there's always that next step, and it's really tough, because you yourself won't really notice it. And if she's in the company that she's in, it's almost kind of like, it's gonna happen. This is kind of gonna happen. So honestly, I view the ending of this movie kind of like I view The Wailing, where it's like a sad ending, but it's like, I would view this ending as a realistic ending. And it's sad, but, I mean, there's a lot of evil in this world. There's a lot of pain and misery and evil in this world. And, people, whenever they see, oh, look at all this evil. But then, where's God? And it's very clear and obvious that man has free will. And man can choose this and choose that. And they could choose God, or they could choose the self. Or they could choose God, or they could choose the world. And I think the problem with Ruthie is that she doesn't really have that choice, because she doesn't know. And it's just really sad, because it's just really easy for someone like her to be manipulated into doing bad things. So I like secretly I think that this is a really good movie. Like honestly, like deep down, I'm like maybe it's a 4 out of 5, but only because of the message at the end of the movie. But like if I were to look at this movie surface level, it's a 3 out of 5 or maybe a 2 out of 5. And it's like, am I watching it again? Probably not. But I would view this movie kind of like how I would view a movie like Nefarious. I think that, yeah. Which Nefarious is more supposed to be a Christian horror movie. Like, that's actually supposed to be a Christian horror movie. Or I would view Bad Things kind of like Black Coat's Daughter, which I don't think is necessarily a Christian movie, but it does have Christian elements and Christian characters in it, so kinda. That's actually a really good movie I gotta do sometime. Maybe not next week, but at some point, because that is a really kind of like serious movie, like deep movie, and yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of it for the Christian explanation. I could just go and talk about, you know, the 1 out of 5s and just make this video just a tad bit longer because, hey, right? But then again, maybe that's fine. Maybe this is fine. I'll just say the reviews real quick. Like, alrighty, so we'll start at 1s. Okay, just bad. Trainwreck, which I already talked about. Painfully boring, pretty bad, diabolical. Then get to 2. Its momentary glimmers of potential and its brief scenes generating interest only makes it ultimate emptiness and disappointment more frustrating. That's a way of putting it if you're viewing at surface level. 4 out of 10, great acting, that's it. Haunted by emotions and ghosts. I think that's actually pretty fair. Not terrible, but it feels like wasted potential. Just the first sentence. It's easy to dismiss Bad Things as the queer version of The Shining, but initially, at least, there are a few ideas worth appreciating here. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, for sure, kind of what I was talking about. Like, Ruthie goes through so much as a person, even before the movie happens. She's a very broken person. That's the short version of saying it. And being at this place is just being there and then being with those people ultimately are just accelerating that brokenness and accelerating the possibility for something out there to be like, hey, I'm gonna start messing with you and make you do things, make you do bad things. 5 out of 10. This reminded me of A Poor Man's The Shining, like if it took place in the Poconos. Lots of wasted potential here. 6 out of 10. It may be slow burning and super weird, but it all comes around in the end. Yeah. 6 out of 10. I see dead people. And then 7 out of 10. Solid and creepy. So, I think that's going to be it, honestly. And I think the only reason I might get to 30 minutes is if there's just so much to talk about in a movie without going to user reviews. But honestly, that might not even be a problem because if I do like the 5 to 10 minute one, and then talk about like small surface things or surface level things, and then the deep dive I talk about more underneath and whatnot, right? It's not really a need to pass 25 or 30 minutes unless there's just so much about the movie to talk about. So I think that might be it then. I'm Sam, Flying Kite. This is the horror show. We did bad things today. And I'll see you next week. Goodbye.